Alright guys, how are you all doing tonight? This is Luke back here with yet another album review, and I'm back with making videos yet again. I decided to be a lazy fuck and take the past week off, but I'm back at it now, and tonight we're going to be reviewing none other than Toxic Holocaust, and this is one of my favorite modern thrash bands of all fucking time. This is Toxic Holocaust, an overdose of death. Released on September 2nd, 2008 on Relapse Records. And holy fuck, what can I not say about this band that isn't amazing? Now let's get into a biography and history of this band, as I always do. Toxic Holocaust is an American thrash metal band from Portland, Oregon. Joe Grind founded Toxic Holocaust in 1999, and he originally wrote and recorded all the band's music himself. And after a couple of demo releases, including Radiation Sickness in 1999, Critical Mass, he made his official album debut as Toxic Holocaust with the album Evil Never Dies. And 2 years later, after some touring with a hired backing band, Grind released the second Toxic Holocaust album, Hell on Earth, in 2005, which once again he wrote and recorded all by himself. The album notably features cover art by Ed Repka, known for having created iconic covers for albums by Megadeth, Death, and others. An extensive touring followed, along with a recording contract with Relapse Records. In addition to releasing the third Toxic Holocaust album, An Overdose of Death, in 2008, which is going to be the one we are going to be reviewing tonight, can't fucking wait, Relapse reissued Evil Never Dies and Hell on Earth. Toxic Holocaust also recorded and released a number of other recordings, including Gravelord, which is a 2009 EP, and Conjuring Command in 2011, and also even Chemistry of Consciousness in 2013. In 2019, Joel Grind signed to Entertainment One and released Primal Future. In 2019, later that year, tours were planned out, but halted due to the scamdemic bullshit that everyone still seems to be believing in. But I won't get into that tonight. Anyways, guys, without further ado, let's get in to this review. I just want to start off by saying that nothing will ever compare to this album in terms of modern thrash for me personally. As a lot of bands in thrash metal in the modern day went to the pizza thrash garbage, this band is not. And what you get here is pure rebellious thrash metal, just the way it fucking should be. This record also hints at a lot of events we're experiencing in today's times, hinting at stuff such as the New World Order and control mechanisms. Hint, control mechanisms of the government, people, I keep fucking telling people. And it hints at this multiple times. The passion is here, the rebellion is here, and the aggression and hatred sure the fuck is here as well. I'm pretty sure the first time you saw or heard An Overdose of Death, you thought it was cool. Maybe in the same way that you might find a video game you just started playing cool, or maybe an old video game you played back in, say, the 90s cool, and you remember how cool that was, or how you would look at a postcard from a little fucked up French church and think, hey, damn, that stained glass window really fucking kicks ass. But in any case, I personally don't really care what you thought about the album at first, because I'm here and I'm going to tell you what I thought about it. And I reckon Blue Dogs with Yellow Eyes standing knee-deep in toxic overspill is a cool way to introduce an album that sounds like what would happen 5 seconds after that picture, when Wild Dogs kicks in and those canine fuckers chase you through the ragged sprint of for the next 36 minutes in the album. So basically, this is an amazing and cool modern thrash metal record, and if you disagree, well, you're not too fucking cool. Sure, it isn't as if Joel Grind had to reinvent the wheel to make Toxic Holocaust sound like they do, since the formula is fairly simple. This is what you would kind of get if you slapped Slayer in the face with Venom. I mean, hell, and you can even hear the Bathory influence in this as well. This is pretty much what you get if Slayer and Venom had a kid and it was thrash metal. Amazing stuff. You know, and it happens and it continues along and along until it loses its sharpness. Then it makes things compositionally tighter by way of some mean time changes. That means this music is an unreconstructed, dirty brand of thrash that fans of Midnight, Abigail, Bulldozer, and even some crossover bands like Municipal Waste ought to find appetizing in a straightforward, instinctive manner. And the appeal of this kind of music is really instinctive quality. There's nothing to really get about an overdose of death other than the music is fast, riffs are catchy and diverse, but not skimping on heaviness at all whatsoever. Vocals are consistent and not distracting bullshit cut down to a, and it's also got bullshit cut down to a minimum. Even the lineup tells you that there was no fucking around when making this. Grind proved sufficient to play all instruments and provide vocals all to the satisfactory standard. On the other hand, there are plenty of outfits composed of a solitary member producing backward-looking metal in a credible, unpolished style. What makes Toxic Holocaust work so well, in my opinion, is that the songs are also great, disappointing very, very rarely and barely missing a beat on this album. Despite fitting in 13 cuts, March from Hell is the only overdose on this album. Phoning the riffs and vocals in rather as well as proving the only song that slows down significantly, the structures of the song take as many cues from punk and crossover as from thrash or black and heavy metal, hammering through verses with much regard for timing or for too many repeating sections, preferring to conclude business in just under 3 minutes. Especially if a Sodom-esque thrash break can be squeezed into those limitations, the changes of pace on Endless Armageddon and War is Hell can be likened to the Germans. Superb, take for example Electrocution from Sodom, one of the standouts from the classic Persecution Mania album, as we all should fucking know. I mean, if you don't know Persecution Mania, what the hell's wrong with you? But while In the Name of Science does something similar, though about 20 years on in Sodom's career, on a related note, the pure hooks of the riffs in Future Shock are irresistible. Not to mention the more extreme elements thrown into Nuke the Cross and the Lord of the Wasteland, as well as one of my favorite fucking tracks on this album being Feedback, Blood and Distortion. And you know what, guys? In fact, let's check out Feedback, Blood and Distortion right here on the channel. We will be right back. are back, guys. Holy fuck, I must say that track is an amazing one. One of the best off the albums, no doubt. This album is very, very, very rebellious. I also want to add that again. And I often have to ask myself the question, how do people still not know what is going on in the world today after listening to and being a fan of Toxic Holocaust? It just simply does not make sense to me, because lyrically that is exactly what this band is talking about, is events in today's time. The only issue that fans of lo-fi black and thrash might run up against is the punk overtones that control a few tracks in this one. There is certainly an element of discharge running through some of the songs, not least Feedback, Blood, and Distortion, which, despite opening up with pretty metallic riffing, has softer motives thrown in that baffle those who were thrilled at the attack of one of the more vicious songs on the album. However, considering that the influence is subtle, other than on a couple of tracks, it provides a variation of stripped-down thrashing of the other songs, helpfully keeping things from becoming too repetitive or predictable. For all that grind does to keep things interesting throughout, it would have been preferable to trim the album down a little further, especially since War is Hell is a track redone from an earlier release, and there are a couple of samey riffs lurking in the back end of a few songs. Nevertheless, these are minor problems and I'm just nitpicking at this point. When contemplating the overall effect of An Overdose of Death, it is a blast from hell, almost from start to finish, and should provide satisfaction for anyone hungry for a dose, or maybe even an overdose of good thrashy fun. Overall, I give this album a solid 9 out of 10, as it is most definitely my favorite modern thrash album and band of all fucking time. And with that, that is going to wrap up this album review for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Toxic Holocaust, An Overdose of Death. I hope you all enjoyed. If there's any other bands or albums you would like for me to cover on the channel, leave them down in the comments below. If you liked this video, leave a like, and if you didn't, leave a fucking dislike. I can give two fuck less. It helps the channel. Either way it goes. And if you have not checked out this album already somehow, just go listen to it. You will fucking love it. Trust me, you will be doing yourself a favor. Me and Chaos are going to be getting back to podcast and whatnot out here really fucking soon, so be looking forward to that as well. As if you want to join either of our Discord servers, the links of those will also be down in the description. Take care, guys, and have yourselves a fucking good one. Cheers.